Hi guys and welcome back to PGL Tavern Tales Spring Season. We are here watching and commentating a Swiss tournament with 32 players who got qualified. Only top 16 will go to tomorrow. $20,000 prize pool. This is round 5. A round that matters a lot. I'm here with Lothar and Raven. My name is Nimsh. Guys, who are we going to see next? Who's playing?
So we're going to see the Thefishou versus xTracKyStyLe first. So that's going to be a good matchup. And this is an elimination game, I believe.
This is an elimination game.
Yeah.
Because when we are choosing which matches to show, it's of course cool to see Thais battling Moody for like the 4-0, right? But this doesn't really change anything of the outcomes of the players that will go to day 2. So we thought maybe it's better to just show the players that are on brink of elimination, or just having that, happy expression of their face because yes,
qualified.
I got the day 2. So we are with Thefishou and xTracKyStyLe that will be playing for their life and death.
Absolutely. And then we know some stuff about Thefishou. So Lothar, what do you know about him?
Well, I remember him with his first international appearance. That was back in the what was his name? Those
You were pretty young at the time. It was 1 year ago.
Yeah, that was basically European Championships for
In Sweden, yeah.
In Sweden, that was the qualifier for the World Championships from Europe, and that broadcast actually lasted till 6 a.m. Our time, European time. So it was quite ridiculous. But Thefishou was playing a tempo mage, if I
very
recall
aggressive
correctly,
one.
very aggressive one with arc and missiles, and he was battling against Life Coach. He won. Life Coach was devastated after that loss, and that was the first appearance of Thefishou. He kind of made the splash right there. So I remember him as the guy who brought the tempo mage, even though it wasn't really favored in the metagame back then.
All right, and xTracKyStyLe, Raven, do we know anything about him?
Yeah, we don't know a lot, to be honest, at all. And I think it's important to focus on what this type of tournament and what the tournaments throughout the year are going to showcase, and is that anyone can qualify. If you're good enough. Like, he's gone through the qualifiers just like everyone else, like the big names like Thais, Powder, so on. And he's here, and if he wins this game, he's through to tomorrow. So definitely, as we were speaking about earlier, this is a tournament where you can make a name for yourself if you want it badly enough. So we'll see what he can do.
Absolutely, and also winning versus Thefishou, one of the best French players. I recognize Thefishou. Like, obviously, I know what you said also, but I've played versus him in the final of the Millennium House Cup 2, and he had a really cool and innovative at the time Death Rattle deck, Death Rattle Hunter. So I connected him mostly to that Death Rattle Hunter, but he can play any deck, and he's also he qualified for the prelim this year. He didn't make it to the top 8, but he's one of those guys who's always there, just waiting for his chance to win a tournament. And he actually won the Millennium House Cup 2, and there was Savitz and Amas playing, and a lot of great players.
Yeah, really interesting as well. We just saw the Twitch chat predictions for this match, and it's actually 52% for Thefishou versus 48. So that's actually really closer than I'd expect as well, because as we just said, we don't know too much about xTracKyStyLe, but interesting as well, they both brought Shaman, which is good.
Hearthstone-wise, that's a good matchup, right? Hearthstone-wise, that's a good matchup. 50%.
Yeah, it's pretty fair.
Yeah.
Any deck above 50% is pretty good. So.
Yeah, it's not conflict anymore.
Oh my god, 2 aggro decks are now battling against each other. Wait, what? That's a Shaman with...
Yeah, so this was a version xTracKy was playing, actually, or at least xTracKy played a version with Dr. Boom in, and it had things like Flame Tongue Totem in as well, which hasn't seemed too common in the aggro shamans we've seen for recently. But xTracKy actually said he reviewed in his warm up for the NA prelims, he actually went win rate of cards in the deck, and he said that Flame Tongue Totem was the highest win rate card in the whole deck, and he tested a lot of different cards. So
that's very interesting.
Yeah, really interested to see how if this is the same deck and how well it performs overall.
I think the deck was kind of known because we've seen most of the deck when xTracKy was playing, and he was even able to turn around the matchup where he was losing. He was able still to win it on the back of that Flame Tongue Totem, I believe. So.
Oh yeah, it was insane. He pushed so much damage early on. I think it was versus Freeze Mage as well, where the damage was just too much. But looking at this game, another interesting deck is xTracKyStyLe bringing Aggro Paladin, which is pretty cool, and the start of double Lepinome is pretty reasonable as well.
You're a fan of Aggro Paladin, Raven, right? Like, you've played it a lot.
Yeah, I probably like a month or so ago I played the deck quite a lot. It was actually Game King's deck. So and he's here, so he made the deck, I believe. So really good deck, and something a bit different, especially when everyone's expecting secrets. right?
What
so
just happened?
So he attacked face with the... No, he attacked with the Leopard Gnome into
The totem golem.
the
right?
Totem Golem. And
For
he
no
should have...
apparent reason.
Yeah, and he should go for face.
I think he was setting up Consecrate next turn. So we can clear anything that comes out, because even if a Feral Spirit came out
Yeah,
next
but
turn, he
healing
can clear.
totem would have been devastating here.
Yeah, that's true. He could still Consecrate and then run the 1/1 in.
But you lose 2 damage. In
Yeah.
the process.
Yeah, but then on the other hand, it was kind of like baiting your opponent, right? It's like, oh, I attack on by mistake, so now we can...
Well, I think the payout is a Feral Spirit is definitely one of those problematic cards for a lot of aggro decks, because the 3 health is really difficult to get through. But you set up 2 1-attack minions and the Consecrate to be able to just push through that and then carry on. Still have 2 tokens left from the Creeper and the 1/1 from the the Divine Shield just that gets knocked off. So I don't mind that play too much. I think we're looking at a pretty even game, although definitely look at xTracKyStyLe getting ahead on the board here.
Do you guys agree this matchup is good for Shaman? Like, if
I don't think so, actually.
if there is a Paladin which is not an aggro Paladin, it is mostly good for Shaman. But versus aggro Paladin, it changes a lot, right?
The problem is here that this shaman probably doesn't play any kind of sweepers, right? There will be no elemental destruction, there will be no lightning storm, and those cards would have been MVP here in this situation, exactly in this situation, right? Even though they are not cleaning up the board, they are doing a lot of damage and are preserving the life totals.
Yeah,
of
they're
the
doing
shaman
enough,
player.
right?
Yes,
And like the second you reduce, I mean, imagine this board where it's just a 2/2 and 2 1/1s, and that's it. That's pretty okay. But the problem now is because he's sort of mana locked, he might be forced into a lava shock just to free up some more of that mana and see what he can do with the rest here.
Yeah, also he needs to throw away cards from hand, because a possible Divine Favor will just replenish Paladin's hand. So it is... Oh, Fire Blast is quite nice.
Yeah, I think Fire Blast is probably the best here because he isn't in a position to push. If he was leading, then maybe Steady Shot. Now, Steady Shot's the normal go-to with this deck. You just push for more consistent damage every single turn instead of just rolling for totems. But I like the ping here because it just deals with so many of the low minions.
That's why I think like this matchup overall is very good for Shaman, because if Shaman is in the lead, Shaman just wins, and that's it. Like, this is a situation where Shaman is behind from the very first turns.
Yeah, I think the difference is really the Paladin, especially late game, really requires the board to win, because they don't really have the mega burst that the Shaman have, and this is going to be one of the benefits of dropping Dr. Boom. He is a little bit pushed for a little bit pressured, but Dr. Boom is definitely one of those cards that can deal with a lot of stuff. I like this as well.
Yeah.
Just hit him in the face.
Hope there is no taunt or anything else. But
Oh, he has the owl as well. So.
yeah, exactly. Oh man, so the Thefishou will have to clear this board and be able to set up those Feral Spirit.
Yeah, we might even see something like a Lava Burst on the 5/5, the Feral Spirit, and then...
Well, double Lightning Bolt.
Yeah, I mean,
Dudes.
well, in all seriousness, like, the problem you've got is the weapon actually deals with the Feral Spirit straight away. So, you need to understand that you will lose one of your taunts no matter what next turn. So I think you see what the bombs do, and then probably Lava Burst to 5/5, depending on where these land. That kind of sucks.
I would probably would like to kill the 5/5. Yeah. Oh wow, that's nice. But
Ping doing some work.
But you still go for the clears, I believe. On the other hand, it's really hard to ignore 7 damage to face, especially if you hope that this will stop the damage.
I wouldn't even mind like double Lightning Bolt, to be honest, on the minions and
absolutely.
go face with, because you're still gaining extra damage from Boom, and it's just reducing so much extra damage there.
Yeah, that's a good and proper move to use the lightning bolt here, and then maybe even the second one, maybe even the Rogue Biter to clear everything, just to deny possibility of another Blessing of Kings.
Yeah.
An example, right?
Because the problem is as well, especially with the Paladin heal, so he won't take any damage. He hasn't quite got lethal, but he is holding on because if he draws one more
that's
burn
lethal
spell,
now, by the way.
Look at
never
that.
mind.
Blessing of Kings just showed up.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
and
the second one as well.
by the way, the Thefishou didn't use the Lightning Bolt right there because he had lethal on board. If one of the wolves would die, the spiders would not kill the second wolf. That was enough damage in hand and on board to just finish the Paladin next turn. So he just made a play to win next turn, but well, unfortunately for him, Blessing of Kings.
Yep. So yeah.
But there were a lot of outs, right? Because no, wait, he needed actually 4 damage. So there was not a lot of outs.
It depends what's in his deck. Leroy
Leroy is a
example,
possibility, absolutely.
Divine Favor would help a lot, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Could've
Keeper would not be enough. because Keeper will be just
Plus 2.
Yeah, just +2 damage.
But this is kind of nice, and we saw the sort of the difference running that Consecrate makes. Because although it wasn't like consecrating down a big board, he managed to clear off the board whilst guarding, like a lot of his. And as we said, as you said, Lothar, the Shaman doesn't look like he's running any AoE. And in this matchup, you get behind, and it's just too much unless the Shaman can actually just draw like a ridiculous.
But this was actually super close. Like if you would get a Haunted Creeper off the top, or Knife Juggler even, that one knife would not do much. Thefishou had lethal in his hand. Like look at that. He had basically 11 plus Dr. Boom and a Wolf is 9. He had 20 damage.
16.
And also, even if he was just off, then like the odds on you drawing direct damage with that Shaman deck are so high. It's so high. You just presume you're going to draw it because there's more chance that you actually won't.
But when you think about it now, the fact that he missed the attack with the Leper Gnome, right, was really a huge factor. Because his only out was, we assume, the Blessing of Kings. If that damage would have gone to the face.
Yeah, there's a few more.
That's adding Goghammer, that's adding Consecration, that's a Abusive Surgeon.
Blessing of Might.
Blessing of Might, yes. Then all of those are out. So you change from like 1 out to 6.
Yep.
Maybe even more because Argent Horse Rider is still there.
Yeah,
one
true.
of them.
Another one. Okay, but this time it's going to be Patron Warrior versus...
Most likely.
Well, Corkrans are most likely Patron, and also Fishes.
Double Armor Smiths in opening deck.
Yeah, it's quite nice.
Yeah. So what do you guys think about the Corkron in Patron versus some of the other choices that you can have?
Honestly, I don't like it that much. I prefer having Pilot Shredder, but then Thefishou is more of an aggressive card. It's like Corkran is not bad. There are cards that you can easily deal with, like Imp Gang Boss. You can kill it, attack into it immediately, and then finish something off. It gives you a bit more burst because suddenly you have Corkran with Inner Rage 6 with charge, so having more charges. But when I was playing that version, I didn't like it because I'm more mid-range centric. I think it's more of a personal choice and preference. Lothar, have you tested the Corkrans?
Yeah, I mean, I like Corkrans because they're proactive. And what Warriors usually lousy at is being proactive on the board, right? Because you rely so much on weapons to have the tempo swings, right? So Corkran is a great answer to some minions, and it's great against Azure Drakes if they are very popular in the meta, and they are currently very popular. So I
think it's nice it's flexible, right, as well, because it's like sometimes you just Corkran face and say deal with my 4/3, and something that patrons struggle with sometimes is actually just pushing for that extra bit more damage to do like a Grom combo. So again, I completely agree. It's complete preference. But looking at this game now, double Deathbite and War Axe might be a bit overkill on the weapons, but with the Armor Smiths, sort of evening it out a little bit, it could be looking pretty good.
I like the play that he went for the Battle Rage instead of a weapon killing a minion, because he knows that he needs just the card draw at some point, and this is the best turn because there's no much pressure on the board to play the Battle Rage right now.
Yeah, and also if you equip the War Axe, then he's almost certainly going to equip the Deathbite next turn anyway, so you just burn the section of that card, because you want the Whirlwind effect. You don't care too much about the actual weapon attack. You just want the Whirlwind effects, because as we've seen, this aggro piling deck is built up of so many low attack minions that the effect is just huge. And talking of Whirlwind effects, Unstable Ghoul is a pretty reasonable draw as well. So now we might actually see Fiery War Axe Ghoul instead. There is definitely a chance to just kill off the Juggler and then play the Ghoul.
Yeah, that's actually really nice if you think about it.
Is it? Because you have Acolyte of Pain for next turn, and then you play Acolyte of Pain plus Ghoul, and you gain a lot of cards. Now the problem is that your opponent might have Divine Favor already in hand, and you're kind of feeding him. Yeah. So.
Oh man, just going for the steady shot.
Yeah.
It's so fast from xTracKyStyLe.
So when your opponent locks in a Finley pick that quickly when they're playing an aggro deck, it's steady shot. They've not even really looked at the other
hero
two.
Power because the other two suck.
Yeah.
Okay, there is a Corkran now, which will help dealing with the 5/5 if you don't want to face tank it.
That's interesting.
But yeah, there's
no execute, unfortunately, for Thefishou, because then you could have attacked into the Hunted Creeper, killed the spawns from the Hunted Creeper, because the Death Rattle effect from the Depth Spider was spawned later, right? But now he still will have free attack on board, which will kill defending Berserker, so he's pushed to use the Unstable Build this turn
Well,
as well.
he could have just played Corcoran, right? Like, just use Corcoran to attack into the 5/5 and then attack into the Spider, and only Finley would survive.
That's
But then
true.
he's...
He'll be 1 mana float, so he wouldn't be able to do anything else,
yeah, and
which
also
is the issue.
with no board, right?
Yeah. This is kind of nice, though, because what he's done is he's guarding his Berserker, but also his Berserker's hitting for 8. So, you know, suddenly the aggro deck needs to deal with this one minion that's going to prove a huge issue because he can't really get through it now, and he's really got to rely on this Divine Favor doing some work here. And Coghammer is probably as good as he was going to get.
Does it save it, this situation? Can you actually kill...
Well, you sacrifice one minion now.
Oh, well, it depends where the Coghammer lands,
yeah,
right?
exactly. If it lands on the Spider, you're good, because
Yeah.
then you attack with one minion, attack with the Coghammer, and
The
then...
Finley and the Divine Shielded
Yeah, yeah,
Spiders survive that you then run into the Berserker. It's the only real play, actually. Like, anything else just isn't good enough, and
that you can attack first.
yeah, tap first.
To have 50... No, but we probably not. Like, you don't want to have 50%. You want to have 33% that it lands in the Spider.
Oh, yeah, because you actually need it on the Spider, don't you?
Yeah, exactly. If it lands on Finley, it doesn't save you.
Oh, here we go.
Okay, so maybe he found...
Oh, is he going to...
face tank it?
No, he's just going to ignore it and let the taunt run into it.
Okay, sure. No,
No,
he's
no,
actually...
no, he's dead. Wow. That was
Whoa.
15 damage
That
to
was
the face.
unnecessary 15 damage. So he basically didn't see that play. But
Yep.
it's easy to see it from our perspective, where we're chilled on the couch. And
Yeah,
he's
we're
definitely
coming
stressed.
back tomorrow no matter what. We
Yeah.
we hope, actually.
we make the finals. Easily.
Yeah.
But
Every time.
just wanted to say, a 3-mana card dealt 15 damage.
It's the power
Just
of
wanted
frothing.
to point it out, you know?
He just didn't see the correct sequence. But, you know, this is probably his first moment where he is on the big screen, in those noise cancellation headphones. Definitely stressed.
Yeah, and this is like one of the nice parts of Corcoran. Sometimes you can just play it on an empty board, push for 4 and be like, yeah, what are you going to do? Arcane Golem, though, coming down now for some extra damage, and he does have, 5, 6. So next turn he has how much damage? 6, 8, 9, 10, 11. That's 13 damage next turn, which is actually pretty scary.
Yeah,
and we can see that Thefishou's got no way of armoring up past the 2 armor from his hero power, and no way to taunt. You know,
he can still top the Grom, right?
He doesn't have an activator.
No, he doesn't need it.
Oh no, he's got the weapon, right? Of course, yeah.
That's why you probably you might
he's got
trade because of Grom.
I think you can trade anyway, right? Because you still have the mini bot.
Yeah. So
I suppose you 2 off lethal though.
How much damage was it? 5, 13, right? Okay.
Yeah, you 2 off lethal if you're hero powered. So I like face. You just go. You either top deck Grom or I win.
And that's basically it.
Because he's already seen 2 armor smiths, so he knows there's not going to be any like big whirlwind effects going on. So I really like this play actually. It's making the warrior require 1 card to win, and that's it.
Yeah. So warrior doesn't have that card. Now, how can warrior survive if you trade into Corcoran, your Corcoran into Arcane Golem? You're starting at 5 damage. So 4 damage is coming somewhere. What are you looking for? Belcher?
We probably need a Belcher or a is it Dread Corsair? If he runs them, but we've not seen anything so far. So I think this is actually just game with that Leroy Blessing of Might. So even I think this is just showing off from XTracKyStyLe now. He took 15 damage to the face that he didn't need to, and still wins. This is just ultimate BM.
It's like I can take that 15
yeah,
damage.
as long as I'm on 1 health, I got this.
So you think he's making those errors on purpose?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Like with the tag with Leperno, because he knew
exactly.
It's fine.
It's fine.
Okay then. Sounds good.
And this is the power of Finley getting Hunter Hero power, because I think that's done 4 to 6 damage in this match so far. So you know, really just adding on the extra damage there and negating the Warrior Hero power, and with Leroy's Blessing of Might, that's all you need.
Well, that's more than enough.
That's pretty good Paladin deck. Right now going 2-0, and Thefishou is down to his Druid. I think Paladin's actually good versus Druid.
Yeah, I think the Paladin has a pretty good matchup. The Druid, as long as it starts quickly, of course, which is the same with any aggro deck you want to talk about. But because it's almost certainly running Owls, you kind of just do the thing of by the time you hit turn 5, hopefully, you get Druid of the Claw out, and then you just Owl and just carry on and just push for even more damage.
There's only one problem. Your Divine Favors might probably bear no real value, because when the Druid player is aware that you're playing Divine Favors, he'll be like, okay, I'll just spam my Innervates, empty my hand, use the Ancient of Laws most likely to heal myself when I get the advantage of using the Innervates anyway, because the board should be clear, unless I'm really digging for a swipe. This is the only reason why the Ancient of Laws probably will be used for the card draw.
Yeah.
Right?
But sometimes you don't have the opportunity, even if you really want to. Like, you just don't have the Innervates, you have Azure Drake in your hand, and you're like,
Yep.
I just need to play what I have, right?
But the problem, that's like the general problem of Druid, right? You don't
Yeah.
have Innervates, you don't have Wild Growth. Well,
I do what I can.
Ram!
Yeah.
Why is this game cheating, not letting me have my ramp?
Yeah, and even though he will not be able to use Divine Favor passively, Divine Shield will be really good, especially when you just go with Blessing of Kings and a Divine Shield shielded me bot, and just slam it into the 4/6 stun, just kill it. So I wonder if he plays Keepers. Like, we haven't seen Keepers yet.
Wait.
Keeper of Ulduman.
Okay.
Yeah, not Keeper the Grove. You're like, we've not seen
Lothar, please.
Keeper the Grove in Druid. It's one of those picks, you know, it's a flex pick more than anything. You don't really want those silences or anything, it's fine.
I thought it's also included in every Druid. Like, you just start building Druid deck and you have like...
Isn't
choose
like 22 cards that were auto included
Right?
in Druid?
22? Actually 20.
Yeah, it's around
2 Innervates,
maybe
2 Wild
less.
Groves, 2 Keeper of the Groves, 2 Force of Natures, and 2 Savage Roars. That's 10 cards. And then you fill it, you know, with curve.
Yeah.
Just fill it with
Dr. Boom
whatever.
as well.
Yeah. And 2 Ancient of Laws.
Yep.
Yes.
So
12 cards.
A lot of wiggle room for deck builders.
Exactly. That's a good opening hand, I guess. Shielded mini board with Abusive Sergeant, very oppressive start.
Leper Nimsh as well.
a nice negative spin on that there, Lothar. Basically, he's just going to oppress him, and he's going to take the game. Oh, Living Roots is actually pretty huge, though. That's actually game-changing.
Yeah, so the Thefishou has an okay opening with Wrath and Shade of Naxxramas, but this is not the dream opening. This is not innervating the Keeper to stop aggression and then just be aggressive yourself, because what he has to do is literally just race.
Yeah, definitely. He has to just lock the board down, and if the Paladin doesn't draw the Owls, then yeah, the Druid of the Claws and things like that can actually do a lot of work and just slow them down. It's similar to the way the Druid versus Shaman matchup. Sometimes the Druid just puts big minions on the board, and there's not a lot you can do about
Just
it.
don't have it.
Yeah, exactly. This is really interesting, though, the Wild Growth here versus the trade one in and then Wrath down.
I think over time it's a bit better for him. If
It's just weird because he's Wild Growthing into nothing, right?
yeah.
That's the only confusion, because he could have gone Wrath into Shade, and now if he plays Shade, then the Wrath's still not being used, and he's not on anything on 4, so...
Yeah, but
probably
look at
good
this.
in the long run, obviously, but...
Yeah, long run is great
It's whether
because
you get the long run.
he'll be able to get the Force Nature on 5, thanks to that.
Yeah.
Well, for 6 mana, but on turn 5.
Turn 5, yeah. I guess you just knock the shield off, right?
Yeah. Shields are super tough to deal with if you don't have the Keeper of the Grove.
Oh my god, Druid of the Claw is going to come down next turn. And the answer to that is Blessing of Kings on a mini-bot.
It looks really good.
And this is the issue, like, if the Paladin starts quick enough, the Druid can normally only drop, like, 1 minion at a time, and then you just have all these buff cards and, you know, just deal with it and then carry on. Even 2 Abusive Sergeants would still do the same job, right?
Yep, I agree.
No swipe.
The swipe would be game-changing here, probably just ending the game right away, right? But right now, the double Abusive Sergeant will cost Thefishou dearly, because the buff will probably go on the Leper Gnome, just deal with the minion, the huge taunter, get the damage to the face anyway, then you use the 1/1 to clear the 3/1, and you have such a poor control, and you know that there's no swipe.
You can even slam Blessing here.
He's got. I think with Hero Power it's
Yeah,
fine.
Hero
Now.
Power is fine.
Because Blessing's 1 mana, you can squeeze it in on almost any turn, right? Whereas, you know, if you only had 1 mana left, then sure, yeah, just play it. But I like just Hero Power, just build up the board. Because as you said, Lothar, he's pretty much. He may as well have leaned over the desk and gone, yeah, I've not got swipe, because he would have done it that turn.
Yeah, and you kind of do expect the Force of Nature as well on turn 6.
Yeah, now like. Oh wow, that's even better. But now he could have played Shredder and Blessing of Might on the 1/1 just to push, but instead he'll just draw a 1/1 and just continue to dominate this game. This is pretty crazy.
When you think about it, the chance of drawing a 1/1 is huge. I mean, a 1-mana minion.
Yeah.
Because the deck is filled practically with those. So, yeah.
He did use a lot of them, but...
Free
free
to
attack.
minion, that's actually huge.
And this is a rough position. When you're using your removal against this Paladin deck, on a minion that creates another minion when it dies, like, you really just fight a losing battle.
Yeah,
he's going face.
He's not even clearing. He doesn't have to. He has so much burst.
Full smoke. So now a top deck swipe. No, but it does help.
Yeah, it's actually great. He will be able to kill the 3-2 and still like slam a 5-5, or actually even maybe kill the 4-1. You don't have to heal with Ancient of Lore, right?
I guess so. That would be my play.
But the problem is every single turn Thefishou obviously doesn't have much choice, but leaves minions up. You're just afraid of buffs. Obviously, we can see the hand is buffs in xTracKyStyles, but you know you've got to be wary of. You know, you've seen 2 Blessing of Kings, you've seen a Blessing of Might. You know what else is there? And that's something else as well.
Oh man.
Well, but I still think that Blessing of Kings, Blessing of Might, Hero Power instead.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Why not just Arcane Golem next turn? It doesn't give you lethal this turn, so there's no need to play it. And any AoEs that come down, you know, the Arcane Golem's going to suffer, whereas you wait for that, you pressure enough, and then go from there. Or is he just going to Golem Blessing of Kings? Or?
Nah, I don't like this, to be honest. You build more board presence by playing the Hero Power, and you're not giving your opponent the 1 mana, right?
Yeah, because now the problem is it's very likely that the Blessed of Might could be dead next turn.
Yes.
Because he might clear. You know, he might have like spell powers like Drake into swipe or something.
He does have
like that.
Savage Roar actually to clear. Oh, actually, even the Keeper is better.
If only had 2 keepers to silence and do the 2 damage.
Look at this now. The Blessing of Might, as you said, is a dead card.
Yep.
He needs a Argent Horse Rider. He needs
Leroy
a Leroy
or
Jenkins
Arcane Golem.
or second Arcane Golem. I don't think he plays actually 2 because he plays Leroy, right?
Yeah.
So 1 Leroy, 1 Arcane Golem, and that's basically it.
I think the weird thing as well is like Arcane Golem was only 1 more damage than Blessed of Might. So like it's not like, well, no, I want like 6 damage this turn to then stack 6 damage next turn. Over the course of 2 turns, it would only be a 2 damage difference. So this is a pretty good play, putting the keep on the board and not taking any damage to himself, which is key.
Druids come back from this. Can the Thefishou actually turn the tables around?
Or Leroy.
Or are we just going to see a Leroy finish?
That's actually not bad.
Yeah, that's pretty reasonable.
Yeah.
Getting the hero power off as well.
Is
this going to be a
shot?
snap? Oh, of course it's Hunter.
Oh my god.
So now the game changed again.
What's kind of good about Finley as well is just on board, like looking at it right now, he can't kill both minions.
Yes,
yeah, he can't.
awesome.
So suddenly, Blessed of Might's a card. You definitely don't play it this turn though.
Yep.
Oh,
now he can.
No, okay.
Options. Well, Leroy is still deadly, and there is still 2 damage incoming.
Imagine if he had Arcane Golem. Like he'd be on 7, but he'd still win with the hero power as well from the Hunter.
Well,
So
we'll see.
what else can he get?
Leroy.
Divine Favor. Punished. Let's see.
Possibly.
Okay,
Leopard
that's
Helmet.
still good.
That's 2 more
still good.
damage.
That's another hero power.
It's not like you're
so
afraid of combo at the moment
Yeah.
from Druid or anything. So
1 Savage Roar was used, 1 Force of Nature was used. Basically, everything was used. Oh, look at that. Well, that's still...
he can survive 1 more turn, right?
Yeah.
Based on what the paladin
Can he
draws.
win with a combo next turn? So if he attacks for 2 here, the combo would be 14 plus 8, 22.
Actually, was there a reason to ignore the Leponome there?
No,
Probably
no,
not with
no.
buffs, not with buffs.
Yo,
no.
guys, Force of Nature wins, right?
Yes, it's exactly 22.
And that's enough. That's 1 damage.
Yeah. That's the 1 damage that was
Wow.
needed for xTracKyStyLe to advance to day 2 because... Oh, right, I need to move. Because this was the match, the decider match for both of those players to advance to day 2. So
So the Thefishou will not advance. The Thefishou ends up the tournament with 2 free score. He did really well qualifying. So, like, even though it's a loss and the guys don't get to day 2, you still have to give it to them. Like, they did really well being here and actually playing in the tournament.
Yeah,
of course.
the performance, just qualifying, you know, like there was 428-man brackets, and I know for a fact there were a lot of pro players in those brackets that signed up to play in those. So just qualifying through that is pretty big, and then doing pretty well in Swiss as well. You know, being literally playing to the last game of the last round, being able to, like, you know, whether you threw or not, like really good effort overall.
Sure, sure. Oh, by the way, I think the other match has finished as well. We had a backup match for you guys, but everybody's playing super fast and wants to close the day. But that was a really fast match. And do you guys think the aggro lineup was the lineup to bring to this kind of a Swiss tournament?
I think maybe not aggro decks, like pure aggro decks, although I'm being proved wrong, right? Because it is 3-0 against a decent player and a decent lineup, so just smashed his opponent. But that's the thing about aggro decks. That's the thing what we talked about in the beginning of the broadcast today, right? Aggro decks can always win. Always. Whatever your opponent will be doing, whatever deck he will be playing, he can always win, even if he's targeting aggro decks, right? So bringing aggro decks is always a good idea, but it does limit kinda your options and possibilities of the matchups, right? So people usually, if they're going for an aggro lineup, they're kind of leaning forwards to a mid-range options like the Druid, like the Zoo, right?
One of the issues as well is if you, in Last Hero Standing specifically, if you do your whole lineup very similar, then you can get locked out by a deck like pretty hard. Say like, Control Warrior can actually just can just crush through a full aggro lineup or something, like maybe Priest or something like that. So it's definitely a bit scary to go all in, whereas, not as punished in Conquest, because once you've won, or once you've lost, they can't play it again. But I really like the Paladin there.
Most damage in one game, 13. Well, that's...
One turn.
Oh, one turn.
One turn.
Yep. There we go.
Okay.
And win
with
the coin, 67%. Wow.
Oh, that's something we argued about at the very beginning of Hearthstone. A lot of players said that when you get a coin, you actually win more, and then Blizzard was saying that's actually equal.
Yeah, but it was a huge variance, right? Like thousands of games gathered by Blizzard when we have a small pool of games. So I'm not surprised that there's margin for the coin. It might be margin for the starting player as well. Could have been the other way around because the aggro players would have been starting, right?
Yeah, depends on the decks as well, right?
Yeah.
Like the
If
aggro
you're
player
a
wants
rogue,
to.
if you play rogue, you always want the coin.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That was crazy as well. It just showed the least turns in a match was 16. The most turns in a match was 19.
Interesting. So that's actually only the free turn disparity?
Yeah, that's for this match. So
for this
it
match,
just shows how consistent the Paladin
okay.
was. Yeah. In terms of just like he just killed him every
So
single time.
those are not global stats for the tournament. They were stats
I think it was just
this.
for this match. Yeah.
Now I get it.
Makes a lot of
we
sense.
went a bit deep into that one then.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's clarified. It was just
Took
that
some
match.
time, but
yeah, we got there.
Clever Cast has 140 IQ.
Yeah.
So guys, just to review the day, we've seen a lot. We've seen an aggro finish. We've seen Lothar battling versus a Twitch chat representative.
Yeah.
Doing really well and finishing in top 2. Then we've seen a lot of players bringing control decks. Reno Lock, Control Warrior. What was the favorite deck for you guys? Lothar first.
To be honest, there was nothing new because we are now we are at the end of the meta game, so I don't predict anyone will be bringing something really interesting and new. But I guess that the combo locks with Reno Jackson and the Archon Golems are something that is a pleasure to watch because almost every single game is different till almost the end. Because you finish them off with the combo, but in the beginning there's a lot of struggle which cards to play. You always have some different type of one-offs.
So it's a very like decision-heavy deck, right?
Yeah.
Because like there are some decks that it's not saying that you don't have to make hard decisions, but decisions are probably more clear in terms of what you take. Whereas with a deck like Reno Lock, you've got to just work because you only run one-offs. You've got to work with what you've got, and that, like you said, looks different almost every single game.
Yep.
Yeah, like Caster's just looking at the screen as what can he do here?
He can do everything.
Oh, I guess Refreshment Vendor was on okay play.
Give him a card.
Give me the card. Raven, favorite deck?
Not just because it just 3-0'd, but the aggro Paladin I like seeing. I played that deck quite a lot.
Scumbag.
A little while ago, and it's a really good deck, really fun, and I kind of just like seeing it when everyone's so in the mindset of Secret Paladin is the only like just the Paladin deck, and it's just shown that aggro Paladin can do some work, and he's actually gone through to the next day, so it's not just this one set, it's actually put in some wins probably.
Well, 3.
Yeah, that's for sure, right?
Look, you know what I mean, guys.
Those wins did count.
Yes. Whatever.
And, for me, I think I really enjoy watching the new Zoo version with the Sea Giants. Well, it's not that new, but it's new in the European and NA meta game, where you have the Sea Giants, where you have Enhanced Meccano, and even though it's not stable, as Lothar mentioned before, I also agree it's not that stable as the old version. It's a lot of fun to watch and to interact, because if deck is not stable, how do you play it in a good way to actually win a match? So that was a lot of fun from my perspective. But now we are ready to go into a short break before the round finishes. This is the round 5 of Swiss, $20,000 prize pool overall. Top 16 after this round will advance. Some players are actually still playing, because this match was just a breeze. It was so fast. So we'll finish all the matches, and then we'll come back to you with the final standings and announce the top 16 players who advanced to Day 2. But for now, stay tuned for more Hearthstone after the short break.